you recently moved to Taiwan and opened a branch office of your organization here. Talk me through that decision.
There is basically one simple reason, or two reasons maybe. One, there is a European interest. Specifically, Taiwan is a golden mine or a hub of knowledge on China, and the threat the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, poses to liberal democracies. So that's why we are interested in getting or grasping some of the knowledge which our Taiwanese partners have and bring it to Europe, because Europeans actually want it as pretty much in national security institutions or in think tanks as well. So that's what we are interested in. And second, we want to be helpful as well, because I see that, or I'm afraid that we are actually in a long-term battle with the Chinese Communist Party, which is fighting against liberal democracies. And Taiwan is the first geostrategic battle. That's what I'm afraid is actually ongoing right now, which means that we as people who believe in supporting liberal democracies should actually stand up for those who are under imminent threat, which I believe is Taiwan. So it's pragmatic, but it's also principled, I hope, in the ways what we want to do.
I mean, you talk about countries that are, who could show political or economic support for Taiwan. I mean, among the countries that have done that, it's voices in Central and Eastern Europe that have been the loudest. What's behind this shift towards closer ties with Taiwan from the countries in this particular region?
There are several reasons why Central, Eastern and Northern European countries actually voice their support for Taiwan. One, we share history, meaning communist government, and in the case of Central and Eastern Europe, occupation by Soviet Russia and its proxies. But also, I would say, relatively limited direct engagement with China, which doesn't really corrupt political decisions in most of Central Eastern European countries. There are exemptions. There are countries like Hungary which serve as proxies of China. Then there have been a lot of elite capture in the Czech politics as well, done by Chinese actors. But if you look from Taiwan to Europe, I think you see three countries or three capitals which are mobilizing political support for Taiwan, and that's Prague, that's Vilnius, and then Bratislava. Hopefully there'll be others, but at this moment those three ones seems to be on the forefront. Which I hope will only be a start of a snowball effect, where we will see more European countries basically finally realizing that the engagement with China, we will keep it in a formal level, but I don't think there is anything real practical coming out of it. There's very little real business, real trade, and there are only hostilities done by the Chinese Communist Party against European countries. And if somebody is hostile to you, you don't want to have there as your friends, basically.
Now, after a coalition deal signed on Monday, Czech Republic is set to have a new government. What can we expect to see from the Czech Republic in terms of its approach to Taiwan going forward?
When you read the coalition agreement between the five parties in Prague, you can read very specifically that Czech Republic will have the most hawkish, or I would say principled government in policy terms in our history. There is a understanding or realization that actually engagement with China has clearly failed politically and economically. That's what basically everybody in Prague will tell you now, because numbers show it. And at the same time, the engagement with Taiwan is positive. It was started first by then opposition parties, like the Senate Speaker, Mr. Vystrčil, who back then came from opposition party, a conservative party called ODS, which is now leading the government and will have the prime minister. Which is good news for Taiwan, but also good news for the Czech Republic, because we will actually have a government which will be led by the prime minister, but also by ministers and individual posts who actually have strong connections to Taiwan during their times in the opposition. What they are saying in their coalition agreement is that they want more engagement with Taiwan on the political level. When you read interviews with the nominees for ministers, it's very clear what they are saying. I would translate it into saying, like, we see what Lithuania is doing, and we more likely would do similar things, which means direct political engagement, a lot of more cooperation on the economic and technological level. There is already existing trade and investment between Czech Republic and Taiwan, which is good news. For example, Taiwan has created 6 times more new jobs in the Czech Republic than the PRC, which is quite unique for a European situation. So there is quite a lot of let's say business ties which are already existing between Czech Republic and Taiwan, which now can be boosted into more significant political, security and other areas of cooperation. So that's where I think Czech Republic is in a unique situation in Europe related to Taiwan, and I really hope that Prague will be, I would say, the best ally of Taiwan in Europe. That's what many people hope for, and I hope that all the aspects which I'm talking about only point to that direction. The new government, the existing economic ties, the political momentum also, that's all these things go in the right direction, I would say.